Dianne, just thank you so much for your leadership. Thanks for having such a comprehensive approach to this issue. And I think everybody, whoever served in uniform, I think is appreciative for your leadership.
Thank you very much, Representative Barca. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really pleased to be joined by Representative Peter Barca and Chris Sinicki, and I think Representative Mandela Barnes will be joining us. Yeah, wonderful. Representative Mandela Barnes is here as well. We all care greatly about veteran issues in our state. I'm also pleased to be joined by John Bechtel and Joel Rasmussen, who staff the UW-Madison Veteran Services and Military Assistance Center. Also Judge Dave Flanagan, who presides over the Veterans Court in Dane County, and former VFW Commander Michael, or as we like to say, Gunner Fergal, and Hank Simon, his wife Judy, from the Sonny Simon Post in Middleton. So we're unveiling a variety of bills today, veteran bills today, and I sincerely hope that every single one of them gets broad bipartisan support. And I know there are some Republican-sponsored bills that I intend to support for veteran issues. Definitely the Stolen Valor one, which was unveiled a few days ago by Senator Roger Roth. I'm hoping we can get broad bipartisan support for that bill. And I hope that both parties can realize and recognize that the one area that we can agree on is the importance of veteran issues to the state of Wisconsin. So I'm going to talk briefly about some of the bills and then invite some of the people here today who helped me with these bills to speak about them as well. So the first bill, LRB 1432, it directs the governor to proclaim the second week of November Veteran Education Awareness Week every year to raise public awareness of the educational benefits to which veterans are entitled and resources available to help them maximize their benefits. And this bill came from a couple conversations I had with area school teachers who were doing some testing and things on Veterans Day, and they had said to me, it's too bad Veterans Day isn't Veterans Week, because we'd really like to support and highlight the success stories of our veterans all week long. And looking at the National Council of State Legislatures, looking to see what they were doing, I saw that this bill was drafted and passed in New Jersey, and Governor Chris Christie signed it into law. So I certainly think this is something we can definitely get broad bipartisan support in the state of Wisconsin. The second bill, LRB 1449, waives Department of Transportation fees for disabled veterans when they apply for an initial vehicle license or motorcycle license. And this bill is a direct result of my involvement with Sonny Simon Post in Middleton. I'm a member of the Ladies Auxiliary Council, and people had asked if I would champion this bill in that aspect, and I, of course, said yes. The third bill, which is very interesting, is LRB 1482. It creates a special task force on issues concerning service members returning home from war, and specifically the following people would be on the commission, and I'm going to have Representative Chris Sinicki speak a little bit to that bill.
Thank you. And first, before I speak to that bill, I just want to recognize and thank Representative Hesselbein for, her undying support for our veterans. Since joining the legislature, this has been one of her top issues, and she's just unwavering in her support for veterans. So thank you, Dianne. I'm here to talk about a very important bill that we'll be introducing. And as some of you may be aware, I've had a very long concern regarding our heroes that are returning home from Afghanistan and Iraq. When our men and women return from serving our country, I believe it should be up to the state to take a lead role ensuring that these brave men and women are receiving the services and support that are needed for a smooth transition into civilian life. So we are proposing a bill that requires the Adjutant General of the Department of Military Affairs to form a task force. And on this task force will include the Adjutant General or his or her designee, Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs or designee, the Secretary of the Department of Workforce Development or designee, the Secretary of the Department of Health Services or his or her designee, the UW System President or designee, Technical College President or designee, and 5 public members with knowledge of demobilization and post-deployment issues, including women's issues, to be selected by the Adjutant General. We're proposing this bill and asking them to make recommendations regarding these really important issues that our veterans face when they return home. Thank you.
LRB 1437 is considering post-traumatic stress disorder or other mental health or substance abuse issues as mitigating factors in sentencing certain criminal offenders. This bill has taken a very different journey, and I really can't thank Judge Flanagan enough. He is the judge that oversees Veterans Court in Dane County, so to speak to this bill, Judge Flanagan.
I'm Judge Dave Flanagan. I'm a circuit court judge here in Dane County, and I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm speaking for myself, not for other judges. I need to make that clear. But I do know that there is support among the other 10, within the other 10 veterans courts, veteran treatment courts in Wisconsin, who I circulated this bill to, there is support for it. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a medical condition. It is a treatable medical condition. Some people don't believe that. Some people don't believe it even exists. I hope that this bill will call sufficient attention to the treatable aspect of this, because as judges, when we sentence people, any person, a veteran or anybody else, we're supposed to take into account the need to protect the public, the need to consider the character of the defendant, and the need to consider the seriousness of the offense. But the Supreme Court of Wisconsin also tells us that we need to take into account the need for rehabilitation, and that's where this comes in. If there's a serious issue of post-traumatic stress disorder, I really should be taking that into account when I make a fair sentence. I should take into account how can we allow for rehabilitation so that this person is not coming through the criminal justice system again. I should be doing that whether the person is a veteran or not. But there's nothing in the law that tells me that I should look at that. And this now puts something in the law that tells people to look at that, and I hope it will cause people to look more carefully at the problem of PTSD. I know most people look at it right now and consider it, but I want to make sure that it's more broadly understood and more broadly accepted that this is something that's treatable, it's something that should be part of rehabilitation, and I certainly want to thank Representative Hesselbein for giving us the opportunity to put this into the law.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate the partnership of working with you and then other judges in the state of Wisconsin who really reached out to me to make this bill stronger. I just can't appreciate it enough. Thank you. The final bills are all sort of educational bills. So LRB 1455 requires the Board of Regents to accept all foreign language credits transferred from the Defense Language Institute on behalf of a student who is a veteran who completed a course of study at the Institute. And what happened is people called my office and they talked to me and they said that they had received language. They went to this institute and they received language credits, but once they tried to go to the UW system, one of the colleges weren't really taking their credits seriously. So this just simply makes the Board of Regents say, yes, we're going to accept all your foreign language credits, regardless if that college or university has that language offered. And LRB 1722, University of Wisconsin and Technical College credits based on military training or experience. It's once again asking the Board of Regents to come up with a way so that every college and university in the state of Wisconsin, the veteran knows what they're going to be getting when they start applying for school. And it's important, and I did talk, by the way, with all three of these last veteran bills, just mentioned them to Ray Cross. He didn't see them in draft form yet. And he said that on first, just hearing about them, he thought they sounded fine. Of course, the UW system will be weighing in at another time, but just on first glance, he thought they sounded okay. And then LRB 1456 requires technical college districts to charge in-state resident fees. And then to speak on that will be John Bechtel from UW.
Hello, my name is John Bechtel. I work in the Veteran Services Military Assistance Office at UW-Madison along with Joe Rasmussen, the campus certifying official. And Representative Hesselbein consulted with us, asked our opinion, since we are on the ground working with veterans on the most conveniently located campus here to the Capitol, to look at the impact of these bills. When it comes to transfer credit, every UW campus has their own flexibility on what they accept and what they don't accept. I can tell you that both these bills won't have any impact on UW-Madison because we are already in compliance with these. We look at the Defense Language Institute is probably one of the most intensive and thorough language instruction courses in the country, and UW-Madison does accept those credits. And as far as other military training and courses, UW-Madison will, on a case-by-case basis, look at those courses, and if they meet the criteria, do grant credit. However, I can only speak for UW-Madison. I can't speak for the UW system or any other UW campus on that. So this will, in some effect, I can see on a larger scale, provide some sort of predictability for residents or non-residents applying to a UW-Madison school as far as what they can expect to get credit for. Reference the Bill 1456 that grants resident tuition to veterans within 3 years of discharge. It's a federal law that takes effect this July. The Board of Regents have already passed a resolution addressing this new federal law and bringing UW's system as a whole into compliance, and in fact is even more generous than the federal law requires as far as granting resident tuition. However, this law does provide it's a backstop. On one hand, you have Board of Regents resolution. The law obviously will create a backstop that will require UW's system to remain in compliance with the federal law. Anything to add, Joe? Okay. Questions? Thanks.
Annabelle, do you want to say something? Okay, just wanted to check. Thanks. I just want to thank you again for coming. I can give you further details and information you seek. I hope you'll follow these bills closely. Once again, they really should get broad bipartisan support. These aren't Democratic issues and these are not Republican issues. These are truly red, white, and blue issues for our veterans in the state of Wisconsin. Do you have any questions at this time?
You say that you're hoping for the broad bipartisan support. Do you have any sponsors of the bill that are part of the GOP yet?
No, we haven't even sent them out for co-sponsorship, so they're going to be going out this afternoon. I did speak with Representative Skoronsky earlier on the telephone, and he was definitely interested in some of the bills and wanted to check with other resources to make sure that he could be supportive of them. But we did talk by phone today. Any other questions? Great. Thank you so much for being here today, and we'll all be available afterwards if you have any questions for us individually. Thank you very much for your time today.
Good job, Diane.
Thank you. Good job.
Nice job. Very good. Yeah, it was great. Awesome. Well, thank you, guys. Yeah, we did a tough job.